William Dominus Cinephile.
Welcome to my movie and TV series reviews, where I will provide honest opinions of the latest releases. If the movie or TV series is a hit or a miss, be sure to know I will inform you. But if the movie or series is trash, be also sure to know that I will trash the hell out of the movie. I am Dominus Cinephile.
And the TV series on the review table today is the Nollywood series To Kill a Monkey. To Kill a Monkey is a gripping 2025 Nigerian crime thriller series fiercely written, produced, and directed by Kemi Adetiba. Featuring a powerhouse cast of Nollywood heavyweights, including William Benson, Bucci Franklin, Stella Damasus, Bimbo Akintola, Chidi Mokeme, Lilian Afegbai, and Sunshine Rosman, the series made its explosive debut on Netflix on July 18th, 2025. To Kill a Monkey plunges into the gritty underbelly of Lagos, following the story of Afer, a brilliant but broken programmer, hardened by years of poverty, crushed dreams, and the unbearable weight of being unable to provide for his family. When life corners him with debts, threats, and a wife at her breaking point, desperation becomes his only currency. In a twist of fate, Afer crosses paths with Obos, an old friend he once saved back in university. Now known on the streets as Obos da Boss, he rides high on wealth, power, and mystery. Grateful and eager to repay Afer, Obos clears his debts and offers him a lucrative job, no questions asked. Covered in the stench of poverty and pressured by his wife to accept the lifeline, Afer takes the plunge. What begins as a lifeline quickly mutates into a dark alliance. Armed with his tech genius and deep knowledge of AI systems, Afer becomes the brain behind Obos's expansive cybercrime empire, hacking, scamming, and laundering digital fortunes with surgical precision. But money changes everything. As the riches flow and the empire expands, so do the cracks. Obos's reckless ambition, inflated ego, and dangerous decisions put them both on a collision course with ruin. What started as a survival hustle spirals into a maze of blood, betrayal, and deadly consequences. Friends turn into snakes, trust decays, and Afer finds himself surrounded by people who would sell him out for a cut of the spoils. With the police closing in and every move monitored, Afer is forced to make an impossible choice: stay loyal to the man who saved him from starvation, or betray him to save his own skin. Out of time and out of options, Afer sets a brutal plan in motion, one that could either buy him freedom or bury him for good. To Kill a Monkey is a ruthless, high-stakes thriller about loyalty, survival, and the deadly cost of chasing freedom in a world where trust is the first thing to die. Great synopsis, right? But as always, let's cut through the hype and peel back the layers to see if the series actually delivers. The first episode opens with a chilling initiation scene. Young boys, barely out of their teens, are forced to swear loyalty in blood to an unseen crime boss. The tension spikes when the boss finally appears, his face concealed behind a haunting wooden mask carved to resemble a monkey, a symbol that will come to define the film's tone and mystery. From that haunting prologue, the story shifts gears and zeroes in on Afer, a man suffocating under the weight of poverty and crushed dreams. We are then introduced to Mo, a character whose life takes a devastating turn that leaves a lasting impact on Afer's journey. Let's start with the most glaring issue: the jarring disconnect between the series title and the actual storyline. To Kill a Monkey suggests a gripping manhunt or a calculated takedown of a powerful, dangerous figure, presumably Obos, the masked boss. Naturally, one would expect the series to revolve around a mission to eliminate this so-called monkey. But instead, what we get is a story deeply rooted in Afer's personal struggles, with the supposed monkey figure, Obos, remaining more symbolic than central to the conflict. Even more puzzling, at no point does Afer take up the mantle by wearing the monkey mask. Nor does the series fully explore the mythos or meaning behind it. In typical Nollywood fashion, we're given a provocative title that promises one thing, only for the narrative to veer in a completely different direction. The title felt more powerful and intentional than the story itself, creating a mismatch that left a lot of viewers, myself included, confused and underwhelmed. And unfortunately, this title-to-plot misalignment was just the first of many cracks in the foundation of this series. The first 2 episodes of the series delivered on a technical level. Strong cinematography, sharp editing, and layered, emotionally charged performances from the 2 leads. It built genuine promise, giving viewers the impression that they were in for a high-stakes, well-crafted thriller. But by episode 3, that illusion shattered. The series nosedives into a chaotic mess of poor plotting, narrative shortcuts, and outright confusion. Now, for a show marketed as a cybercrime thriller rooted in digital scams and AI-driven fraud, the most infuriating part is how little actual cybercrime or investigative depth is shown across its 8-episode run. There's barely any hacking, no technical groundwork, and certainly no detailed depiction of how modern cybercriminals operate. Take, for instance, the moment when Obos introduces Afer to his cybercrime empire. Afer casually mentions that he can revolutionize their operations using AI technology. At that point, the story could have taken a fresh, innovative turn. The writers had a golden opportunity to dig into how artificial intelligence and deepfakes are currently being used in online fraud, identity theft, and digital manipulation. Instead, they do absolutely nothing with it. The next thing we know, the story leaps forward by 4 years, and suddenly, Afer and Obos are absurdly wealthy, with no real explanation of how their operations evolved, no demonstrations of AI integration, and no hint of the deepfake technology that was supposedly part of their rise. It's lazy storytelling at best, and at worst, an embarrassing display of ignorance. It's clear the writers and director did little to no research into how cybercrime actually works in today's world. Not even a basic understanding of how AI or deepfakes function is shown. A simple Google search or consultation with a cybersecurity expert could have added credibility and depth. Instead, we're left with a hollow shell of a plot that leans on buzzwords without ever earning them. In a genre that demands precision, this was a major failure and a wasted opportunity to tell a smart, relevant story. Just like the wasted potential of the AI subplot, the investigative arc in this series was even more frustrating, annoying, underdeveloped, and downright mind-numbing. The character meant to be a cyber detective, someone who should anchor the investigation with intelligence and technical skill, ended up solving the case through sheer luck and wild coincidences. It was painful to watch. What could have been a sharp, methodical, and compelling figure was instead reduced to a prop dragged around by the plot. As a cybercrime detective, her role had massive potential. The writers could have shown her digging into digital forensics, tracing IP addresses, decoding encrypted messages, or navigating the dark web, something to make her feel like a real investigator. But no. Instead, she magically arrives at conclusions without doing any actual detective work. Her entire arc felt like an afterthought, rushed, shallow, and insulting to both the genre and the audience's intelligence. Then, there's one particular scene that encapsulates the laziness in the writing. The detective receives an address leading to Obos's cybercrime hideout. She gets there, walks into an abandoned building to take pictures, and, out of nowhere, gets knocked out by her own assistant. An assistant we already suspected was the mole, yet the writers tried to pass it off as a shocking twist. But here's the real question that completely unravels this subplot. At what point did Obos even know the detective was on his trail? When and how did he make contact with her assistant? We're never shown any build-up, communication, or connection between Obos and the mole. It just happens, as if the writers hoped we wouldn't question the logic. This is not clever writing. It's lazy plotting. It strips the story of all credibility and makes it painfully obvious that the investigative aspect wasn't thought through at all. If you're going to include a detective character in a cybercrime series, at least respect the genre enough to let her detect. Instead, we're left with a series that throws away its own rules for the sake of rushed drama and manufactured twists. By the time we're introduced to the character Teacher, it becomes painfully clear that To Kill a Monkey has completely abandoned originality, descending into a patchwork of recycled Hollywood plots, with little effort to adapt them meaningfully for a Nigerian audience. You simply can't watch this series without recognizing the blatant parallels to American shows. Most notably, Mr. Robot, 2015 to 2019. The similarities are undeniable. A mentally unstable, tech-savvy hacker pulled into a web of conspiracy and criminal activity. But where Mr. Robot dives deep into the psyche of its protagonist and intricately explores the consequences of digital rebellion, To Kill a Monkey merely borrows the surface-level tropes without substance. It throws around buzzwords like AI and cybercrime, but never commits to any real exploration of the technology or its social implications. It's style over substance, and the style isn't even theirs. Another glaring influence is Breaking Bad, 2008 to 2013. Afer's transformation from a struggling man into a digital criminal kingpin shamelessly mirrors Walter White's descent into the drug world. The core idea, a man turning to crime out of desperation, isn't new, but Breaking Bad executed it with slow burn precision, emotional weight, and psychological depth. To Kill a Monkey, on the other hand, fast forwards through character development with a lazy 4-year time skip and expects the audience to believe that Afer and Obos have become untouchable crime lords overnight. No build-up, no nuance, just a leap in time and a pile of unexplained wealth. What's most disappointing is that the series had the opportunity to reimagine these tropes through a truly Nigerian lens, to root cybercrime in the local reality of Lagos, explore the socio-economic desperation unique to the Nigerian experience, and portray tech-driven scams through the lens of Yahoo that has become an ill in our culture. Instead, the show feels like it was written with one eye on American scripts and the other closed entirely. It's not just homage, it's imitation without innovation. Beyond the recycled Hollywood plots and the chaotic, disjointed storytelling, one of the most laughable and poorly executed moments in To Kill a Monkey was the car explosion scene that supposedly killed Teacher's grandchild right before his eyes. Yes, CGI was used, but used so carelessly and incompetently that it ended up insulting the audience's intelligence. Picture this. A Jeep is parked directly in front of the house entrance. Teacher, his daughter, and a few others are standing just a few feet away. His granddaughter climbs into the Jeep, and within seconds, it explodes. Now here's where things go from tragic to utterly ridiculous. Despite the magnitude of the blast, nothing around the vehicle is touched. Not even the building's walls or window glass. No debris, no shattering windows, no fire damage. And as for the people standing nearby, they react like they're wearing invisible superhero shields, unscathed, unbothered, completely untouched by the flames and force of the explosion that just obliterated a car right in front of them. It's not just unrealistic, it's downright insulting. How do you stage a car bomb that kills someone inside the vehicle, yet leaves everyone else around looking like they just watched a fireworks display? Where's the blast radius? Where's the realism? This isn't suspension of disbelief. It's a total collapse of logic. Nollywood, how do you explain this? A basic understanding of physics, fire safety, or even just watching a single YouTube video of real car explosions would have saved this scene from becoming a meme-worthy disaster. Let's get into the performances, starting with William Benson as Afe. His portrayal was undeniably one of the series' strongest elements. Benson brought a grounded, layered performance that made Afe both sympathetic and complex. From the first frame, you believe him. Whether he's playing the struggling, broke husband clawing his way through life, or the conflicted man weighed down by his new wealth and internal demons, Benson delivers with quiet intensity. His chemistry with Nosa, played by Stella Damasus, felt authentic. Their scenes together were emotionally charged, and he maintained that same level of connection with every other actor he shared the screen with. There was a calm power in his presence. He never overacted, never went off key. He carried Afe with nuance, restraint, and quiet desperation. But here's the problem, and it's not on Benson. The writing failed him. Despite playing a character who's supposed to be a cybercriminal genius, the script never gives him the space to be that criminal mastermind. We hear about how smart and tech-savvy he is, how he's supposed to be using AI to revolutionize crime, but we never actually see it. The show doesn't allow him to evolve into the calculating force the title demands. It's not that Benson under-delivered, it's that the character was underwritten. In a better script, Benson could have soared. Instead, he was forced to play around the edges of greatness, held back by a story that never allowed Afe to fully become what the series claimed he was. Bucci Franklin as Obos came in with undeniable charisma. From the moment he steps on screen, he commands attention with his flamboyance, street-smart charm, and ruthless energy. Franklin clearly understood the assignment. Obos was meant to be unpredictable, manipulative, and magnetic, and on the surface, he delivered. His body language, tone, and intensity carried the aura of a man who had seen darkness and embraced it. He leaned fully into the role of the flashy crime boss, blending charm with menace. However, beyond the surface-level flair, the character lacked depth, and Franklin was never given the space to dig deeper. While his performance was solid, the script failed to explore the layers that could have made Obos unforgettable. There were moments where you could sense Franklin trying to push the character into something more dangerous, more volatile, but he was constantly held back by lazy writing and underdeveloped motivations. For someone who is supposed to be the series' criminal architect, the so-called monkey in To Kill a Monkey, Obos is never given the sharp edge or emotional gravity that a true antagonist needs. There's little insight into his rise, no backstory that explains his obsession with power, and absolutely no explanation of how or why he suddenly becomes this criminal mastermind. The result? A performance that's flashy but ultimately hollow. Not because Bucci Franklin couldn't go deeper, but because the script simply didn't allow it. Franklin had all the tools to make Obos iconic, but the writing stripped him of nuance and relied on cliches instead. In the end, Obos becomes yet another Nollywood villain, reduced to empty threats and dramatic stares, when he could have been a psychological powerhouse. Bimbo Akintola is a seasoned actress, but her performance as Detective Mo fell flat. Not because she couldn't bring weight to the role, but because the script made a complete mess of her character. What should have been a sharp, strategic cyber investigator was reduced to a passive, almost clueless figure who stumbled into breakthroughs by luck rather than skill. The writing offered her no real detective work, no data analysis, no tech-savvy moments, no investigative depth. Even the twist involving her assistant being a mole was poorly executed, with no logic behind how it even happened. Akintola gave what she could. Her presence was strong, her delivery solid, but the role was so underwritten, she was never allowed to shine. a character with great potential was wasted, leaving us with another missed opportunity in a series full of them. In summary, To Kill a Monkey had the potential to be a gripping, multi-season crime thriller. But the writer and director completely squandered that opportunity with poor storytelling and chaotic execution. Many scenes were unnecessarily stretched or outright repetitive, offering little to no new insight, especially the endless Obos Afegbai restaurant conversations and the Afegbai Amanda moments that led nowhere. Instead of pushing the plot forward, these scenes dragged it down. Chidi Mokeme's performance was another letdown. His character felt forced and irrelevant, adding no real depth to the story. Worse still, his portrayal came off as a lazy, watered-down copy of his role as Scar from Shantytown. Same energy, no evolution, and zero intimidation. It felt like he was just phoning it in. The series was full of missed opportunities. The subplot involving Afegbai and his daughter Ivy's resentment lacked emotional depth or any convincing build-up. And the death of the teacher, arguably one of the most pivotal moments, was handled carelessly, executed by random, disconnected characters in a way that felt rushed and anticlimactic. Beyond the impressive cinematography, the only thing keeping this 8-episode series from completely collapsing was the strength of the lead actors' performances. Unfortunately, even their best efforts weren't enough to rescue the show from the narrative mess the director threw at the audience. And now for my rating. To Kill a Monkey scores a disappointing 4 out of 10. I'm definitely trashing this. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell icon for notifications. Also, be sure to follow me on TikTok, WhatsApp channel, and Instagram at Domino's Cinephile for more movie and TV series reviews. Domino's Cinephile, signing out.